Hey, welcome to the series of everything you need to know about Python in simplest possible way. In the series of pattern printing, so far we have seen so many patterns. In this video, we will see how we can actually print this particular pattern. So let us go ahead and see how we can print this particular pattern. So if you carefully see here, we have 5 rows. So for that reason, I will take a variable rows and assign the value of 5 to these particular rows. So later what I will be doing is that we have 5 rows, right? So to generate 5 rows, I will use a for loop. For I in range, I will generate a range of values from 5 till 1. So that is what the way that we are having these particular values, right? So for that reason only, I will mention the range from 5 or from the rows till 1. So for that reason, I will mention rows to 0 to -1. Why I am mentioning 0 is because if I mention 1, it won't take the value 1. It will stop with the previous value itself. So for that reason, I have mentioned 0, and on each iteration, I want to reduce this particular pattern, this particular range of values to -1. So I want in the reverse direction. For that reason only, I am mentioning the value as -1. So later what I will be doing is that before actually building the logic to generate this pattern, let us understand what we are having inside of this for loop. So for that reason, I am mentioning a print statement and I will print the value of I here. So if I execute this, I am getting the value of values as 54321. So we can actually relate these values to the actual pattern that we are having. So in the first row we have 5, the second row we have 4, in the third row we have 3, in the fourth row we have 2, in the fifth row we have 1. The similar way we are getting these particular values. So does it mean that based on this particular I value, we can actually print this particular pattern, right? So somehow by extending this logic. For that reason, what I will be doing is that if you also carefully see here, on each row, the values are repeating by how many number of and which was the number that it is having. So here we have 5 and the values are repeating 5s here. So here we have 4, the values repeating 4 here. A similar way, if we could extend these values to how many number of values that we are having and which is the number that we are having, we can actually get this particular pattern. So what we do when we have repeated statements, this can be considered as repeated statement, right? So 5 is repeating 5 number of times. So we generally use loops, right? So for that reason, I will mention one more loop here. So for a in range. So what is the range of values that we need to consider here? So based on the I value only, we can actually get this particular pattern, right? So for that reason, I am mentioning 1, 2, I plus 1 because based on the I value only, we can actually get this pattern. So that is the reason I have mentioned I here. So I am mentioning this print of I statement inside of this inner for loop. So if I execute this, okay, we can able to get this particular pattern which is of 5, which are of 5 times 4, which are of 4 times. Like this we can actually get the pattern, not exactly the pattern but the values inside of this particular pattern. So we need to arrange this to get this particular pattern. So here what I will be doing is that I will mention a end spaces because by default this end will have a new line character. For that reason only we are getting all these values in the new line. So if I execute this, we will get everything in a single line. So I can show you. So here you can see everything is getting in a single line. So to get this particular pattern, we need to divide this, right? So when exactly we need to divide this? After completion of this inner for loop, we need to put a new line. After completion of this inner for loop, uh, printing fives, we need to put a new line so that these fours will be getting in a new line and these threes will be getting in a new line. So everything will be arranged accordingly. So for that, after completion of this for loop, I am mentioning a print statement. By default, this print statement will result in new line character. So if I execute this, we can actually get the actual pattern that what we have here. So you can compare this both and we can correlate and we can relate this pattern exactly same. So I hope you can able to understand this logic. If not, let me explain quickly one more time how we are getting this particular logic. Initially, we have identified we have 5 rows. To generate 5 rows, we are getting the rows as 5. So later, to generate rows, we are using this for loop, starting with the range of values from how many number of rows we are having till the value of 1. So inside of this inner for loop, what we are mentioning is that we are getting the values of these values based on the I value only. Because of that reason, we are mentioning the range of values from 1 till the value of I. For that reason, I am mentioning I plus 1. It will go till the value of I. Instead of this for loop, I am mentioning a print statement with I so that we can able to get the pattern. So I am mentioning an end with spaces to eliminate the default value of new line with a one space here. So at the end, I am mentioning this print statement to get the new line to actually get this particular pattern. So now what we will be doing is that we will take input dynamically from the user. So based on the user input, we will print the pattern. So for that reason, I am mentioning int input enter rows. I am asking user to enter rows. If I execute this and if I give the value of 5 here, I can able to get this particular pattern. That is fine. If I give one more value, which let's say 8 here, so still we can able to get this particular pattern exactly and similarly what we have expected, right? So now I hope you can able to understand this logic and generate this particular pattern. So if you found this video interesting, hit the like button, and in the next video we will be seeing how we can generate this particular pattern. So to stay updated, subscribe to this channel and hit the notifications so that whenever I upload any video, you will get the notification. And thank you for watching this video. See you in the next one.